I'm an audience member. One of the 5.
And Macy is 6.
Ever in your favor.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to inform you on a very simple matter. You're destroying your ability to speak. You're not going to be able to have a conversation. You're not going to be able to say hello in the morning to somebody anymore. You are killing the advancements that we've made over the past thousands of years. Talk to one another. And you're doing this how? You're asking yourself, how can we save it? What can we do to prevent these things from happening? It's pretty simple. You just gotta set down your phone. You just no longer have to do it. It's easy as 1-2-3-495-8864. That's right. All you have to do is, instead of texting somebody, pick up this magical device called a phone and have a phone call. It's easy. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, but yo, incredibly charismatic, good-looking man standing in front of me. What does me texting Shorty over here have to do with the whole talking to people? What does this have to do with my speech impediments? And that's easy to explain. Once I figure it out. There has been side effects that are proven by many studies and beautiful surveys that texting diminishes your ability to communicate with one another. It destroys your confidence in your ability to confront people while actually talking to them, like coming up and discussing them. It breaks down your vocabulary, your vernacular. It really stinks. So, I'm going to move on to my first point in my case. And I have to say, the worst part that is really destroying your ability is those weird, hieroglyphic, crazy, like, images, number type ordeals that you're using instead of actual words. It's those crazy symbols, those abbreviations, those analogy type things, the lack of morphemes that is really killing you. It's saying, like the letter U, instead of actually typing out, why are you? It's using words like bay, and not referring to an ocean. And it's this laziness, this lack of effort of wanting to put into your work that you have to put into when you're actually talking to somebody. You can't be like, letter U, smiley face, LOL, whenever you're talking to somebody. That's not how it goes. It can be a big issue in many, many occasions. People will not understand you. You can talk and talk and talk, but if I say to you, yo, what be up, my homie G dog, word for shizzle my nizzle? You have no clue. I have no clue. Nobody has a clue. That's the problem. You're not talking anymore. You're staring at each other in confusion. This leads to another one of the issues, which is not only being able to have a lack of communication and having a lack of using words. This affects your vocabulary and your vernacular, as I was saying previously. By using the letter U and bay and all these weird, simple 3-letter words, you're not building, you're not going to be able to impress anybody. That's the entire point of the English language, is to impress other people. If you're in a job interview, you say no? If you're in a job interview and you start talking like, hello, I'm Parker. It is a great day. Spot ran and caught the dog yesterday. Yay! He is not going to be impressed. versus this other guy who's using big 5-letter words. It's going to be crazy. Just the more syllables, the better in any situation like that. You will not get pretty far in life without being able to communicate and talk with other people. I actually, while I was thinking about this, I needed some sources, so I decided I'll conduct a survey. But not only a survey of people. I conducted a survey disguised as another survey. To get people, because I wasn't actually surveying them, I was trying to see how many words they would send in a text message. I was trying to see how big are the words, what they sounded like over text messaging, and how ridiculous it would be sounding out loud. So that's what I did, a survey disguised as a survey. And on average, it was only 8 words per message. My questions were longer than 8 words. It was really just disheartening. It made me feel sad to be a human for a while. If people cannot talk to each other, if people cannot discuss things, you will not be able to do anything. You'll be stuck at your home sitting at your mom's place, which is not fun. Trust me. Speaking of not fun, I have another point. The inability of confronting people is also a big issue when it comes to these things, because it's so much easier to talk to somebody online, to make fun of people, saying mean and rude things. Kidding. Or to try and woo somebody, to say nice things, be polite, or stand up for yourself when somebody else is being mean, standing up for somebody else. It's so much easier when you don't have to see the person's face, when you don't have to hear their voice. It's so much easier. And this causes people to have the inability to stand up for themselves, or stand up for somebody else that's being bullied in real life, in person to person. And that's a huge issue, especially with these days when bullying is escalating quite quickly. Having the inability to talk to somebody, to walk up and actually have a conversation, also leads to great social anxiety. Because if you think you can't do it, you're probably not going to be able to do it if you keep bringing yourself down with that. So you're not want to go outside, you're not going to want to go and do social activities. And what is that going to end up doing? Making you text more. Making you Facebook people, or Tumblr, whatever your kids are into. AIM, if that's still a thing.
AOL, Parker. Not AIM, and it is still a thing.
I'm sorry.
Okay, baby.
You have a message from the 80s saying they want their message chat back.
Tell the 80s they can wait 20 more years.
And this over-abuse of these social interactive devices and communication on the internet leads to so many even worse things. If people can't bully in real life, they're going to cyberbully. They're going to bully online. They're going to create these genetically awful people, like fedora-wearing hipsters, and their inability to talk to women. It's ridiculous and annoying.
Correct answer is 6.
There's no correct answer to that.
No comment.
Please hold comments till after video.
Texting and messaging with people also gives you this time, this overabundance of time. Somebody texts you, you're like, hey, got a message, read it, think about it. 4 hours later, you'll probably send a message back, because people are, or at least to me, they are awful at sending things back. So you'll see a scene and a check mark and a time. 4 days later, you get a message back. If you're in an interview with somebody and they ask you a question and you answer it 4 days later, you're probably not going to get the job. Just words of advice.
They'd probably kick you out of the office after 2 days. I mean,
2 days is a bit lean still, but okay. So this inability of instant reaction, to think, to exercise your brain, to be able to respond in a decent amount of time. This affects it when you're in an actual conversation. Like in the interview, if you don't respond quick enough, you're going to lose the job, you're going to not be able to talk to people, and it's going to be really bad. It's going to slow down your mental process. That mental process is bad. We need people to be smart these days. Cure cancer.
Cure cancer.
14.
I have faith.
I believe in you.
Call you back.
People are waiting on you to be faster with talking than if you sit there on a camera typing on your phone to somebody instead of actually paying attention to this informative speech.
Adjust the camera.
Thank you. It's really awful when you have the inability to have a quick conversation with somebody. Quick conversation with somebody.
I'm still pointed at you.
Okay, I believe you.
No, thank you.
When there's other people relying on you to do things. You don't want to be that guy. That guy that turns fast food into slow food. That guy that takes a quick run to the bank to a 4-hour Disney line ride. Standing in line for hours and hours. It's awful. So don't be that guy. Don't give up your fluidity in speaking. Don't give up your ability to pronunciate things. Just because you feel like texting your friend over and over and over. Instead of going out and climbing a wall or tree with them. I don't know. You need to exercise your brain. You need to exercise your ability to be confident in what you're saying. You need to exercise your social interactions. You need to be able to talk to somebody. And that brings me to my conclusion. Probably the most important part of my entire informative speech so far. Which is me just basically summarizing that you need to be able to talk to people. I cannot stress this enough. It causes an inability to know what to say, to know how to say it, to know when to say it, to be able to say it, and to be able to see somebody to say it. And all these very important, vital things. You don't want to lose your knowledge. You don't want to lose how to be able to talk and speak with people. You don't want to forget what words mean, to lose your entire vocabulary because you didn't feel like going outside. So you need to quit sitting on your butt, texting people, AOLing people, Facebooking people, just sitting there on your butt for hours and hours, Tumblring and tweetering and all that instead of going out and talking to somebody. You need to get up, move, or at the very least pick up a phone. And this brings me to my final point, which y'all will all be relieved about. This is the most important part. If you don't take anything away from this, I want you to listen. I want you to make eye contact with me instead of enjoying that luscious cake, which I want.
Cake. Okay,
Cake.
back to Parker.
The cake is a lie, by the way.
Back to Parker.
I need you to do one important thing. I even made a beautiful giant sign so you can see it. You need to call your grandparents.
I can't read
They're not
that.
going to be here forever.
I can't read that on the camera, but it definitely says call your grandparents.
Call your grandparents. You need to do this. This is the most important part of my entire speech. They're not going to be around forever. I know it's sad, and I know you don't call them enough. Nobody in the world calls their grandparents enough. Ever. So
Anyone.
that's what you need to do. They would love to hear from you. They love to hear the sound of your voice. They would love for you to call them and explain what texting is. And explain to them the troubles and how great phones were before they had texting. That is all I have for today. Thank you for sitting here enjoying cake while I say my speech.
Yay! Sorry about the bad camera work.